Gas industry, or the detection, the PPE that we specialize in is more specialized to ensure that should there be any gas present in the area, so when our gas detection obviously detects any gas, that you would have the correct respiratory equipment to be able to safely, get out of the area, or if somebody needs to be rescued, you would have the correct equipment to enter the area and rescue a person. So that's the type of specialized PPE we deal with. So it'll be more like your full face masks and filters, depending on the gas that might be present in the area. If it's a gas like ammonia or chlorine, you would need a SCBA, which is a self-contained breathing apparatus, and you would have to know how to use it. It's not just any person that can put it on and use it. So that's what I mean by specialized. It's not your standard PPE like your earplugs and your FFP masks that we all worn during COVID times. It is more your specialized full face masks and filters, or your breathing apparatuses, or even escape sets to escape out of the area. The appropriate key factors, I would say, is make sure the equipment you're buying has got the correct specifications. They are homologated. Homologation means that when they do come into the country, they get tested and they are approved according to either an EN or an American spec, or whatever the case may be, wherever the product comes from. Most of the products that we supply are EN spec, so it comes from Europe, and that's what I mean by homologation. So it's very important to ensure that you are buying something of good quality, something that works, something that's been tested over the years and in the areas where it's due. And when you do buy the equipment, make sure that you're buying the correct equipment for the correct environment that you're working in. Doesn't help you buy, for example, once again, a chlorine filter, but you're working in an ammonia area. So make sure that when you choose your filters, that it's the appropriate filters. And ask your supplier if it is the correct filter that's being or needs to be used in that specific area, as an example. Yeah. It's very important that you do tell your supplier exactly what the scope of work is. Don't guess where you're going or what is in the area. Make sure a risk assessment was done, or you know exactly what um, is specifically in that area. I'll always just go back to ammonia or chlorine. It's always the easiest because there's so much of it. If you know there's ammonia in the area, tell your supplier, listen, this is what is in the area. This is what I need protection against. In certain cases, if the concentration is too high, you might not only need a SCBA, you might even need protection in a suit, a chemical suit, because ammonia pulls in through the skin into the blood as well. So yeah, it's very important to know what's the concentration also in the area. So yeah, in the past I've sold suits and SCBA sets to certain areas where the concentration is quite high. So yeah, it's very important. Just speak to your supplier and they'll give you the correct information, and make sure you give them the correct information. I know over the years there are so many companies who struggle. They give their employees all the workwear they need, the correct PPE. If I take dust masks, for example, we all knew in COVID time, when you wore a dust mask in the heat, how difficult it is to breathe. You want to constantly take it off. Imagine you sit with that dust mask on your face for 8-hour shifts. It's not a joy. And that's why you'll see a lot of people just take it off, put it on the head. But they forget that your whole head and everywhere is full of dust now. Now you're putting it back on your face and you're breathing in the dust that now accumulated on the inside of the mask. So yeah, people don't really think about that. Yeah, and it comes to the ear protection, all of that, eventually your senses get affected by things like that as well. So eventually, if you've been in an area where you've never worn ear protection, or you haven't worn it properly, then it affects your hearing. So, for me, then walking into an area where sound is loud, it might hurt my ears, but it might not hurt the person working there's ears because he's so used to it. And same with the gas. Some people can't even smell gases anymore because they constantly work in an area like that. And that's why it's, important to wear that proper protection. I've been to a lot of places where I walk in and then my eyes start to tear over the gas. And the guy's walking around there as if nothing's wrong because they don't smell it anymore. That's a difficult one. Very difficult to give companies tips on how to do it because a lot of companies give it to their employees, but they just don't want to wear it. Definitely a lot of education and training, obviously, and showing them what the after effects are. You don't want to sit with cancer or whatever the case may be in the next 20 to 30 years, because that's what happens to a lot of employees because they don't listen. or they don't use the proper protection given to them. So it's already evolved over the years. If you look at it, I mean, we started with let's if we go down into a mine, we're now talking in the I'm not actually exactly sure, but let's say in the 1930s, 40s, 50s, maybe even 60s, they used to take a little canary down with them into the mine. So as soon as the canary fell over, then they knew oxygen depletion was happening because the canary couldn't breathe anymore. Now, I mean, that's unfortunately that they had to harm animals that way, but I mean, that's what happened in those years. But now it's evolved so much that they constantly wear these rescue equipment and everything on the person himself. I do see it evolving, and it's very difficult to say how far it's going to evolve because I think it has evolved so much over the last few years that I think we've reached like a point where you basically have what you can, or okay, that's not the right wording. I think we've already got the best that we need. People just need to utilize it. That's my main thing. You can go more fancy, make it look a little bit nicer and better and more modern. And I know a lot of companies are already doing that, but it's still got the same technology that they've used for the past 20 or 30 years in that equipment. It's just, it's more modern. It looks more modern, but it's still the same. Portable gas goes so much hand in hand with PPE, and it also depends on the area, obviously, that you're working in, because you want to get a warning. A lot of places do not have fixed gas detection, and we specialize in the detection side of it. So portable gas gets clipped onto the body. That's a portable unit, so wherever you walk, it goes with you. And a lot of gases might not be picked up even by fixed gas detection because it might be leaking in an area where the fixed gas detector is not detecting the gas yet. But now you're walking around creating wind, and your portable monitor picks it up. And that then tells you, listen, you might be walking through a gas pocket or there's a gas leak which has not been detected by the fixed gas. And you hopefully have your PPE on you and you can quickly put it on, or you are not too far away from an escape area where you need to escape, depending obviously on the gas that is there. So, yeah, portable gas is quite important, and it also then depends on what type of gas might be in the area. If it's oxygen, you want to obviously try and keep it at a 1.5 meter area on your body, clip it on. If it's CO2, you want to try and keep it as low as possible because CO2 starts at the bottom, it's heavier than air, and it starts moving up. So you want to detect it at a low point, similar to your fixed gas where you detect it at about between 300 and 500 millimeters. Yeah, so it just depends. There's different types of gases. They all differ in densities, and there's different types of monitors. You get single gas monitors, you get portable multi-gas monitors, and then the multi can go from two gases up till 7 or 8 gases simultaneously, which can be measured. So it just depends on the area and where you're working, what gases need to be measured, and then we can spec it accordingly and put those gas sensors in the monitor, and then you sort it and you protect it. So rather protect yourself before you need the PPE. We're there for support and help, and I mean, if people need to ask, that's the thing. And like I said earlier, ask your supplier or tell them what you need, where you're going to be, what you need to detect or protect yourself against, and then we will give you the best advice we can.